like that? You are not aware what is the importance of this subject, or none of you is planning for the placement. If either is the case, then fine. But if you're planning for placement and still not working for your programming skills, then let me tell you, you are on wrong path, my friend. It won't work like this. Ask yourself honestly how much you have done for this subject's programming. Today I'll complete 4 programs of Servlet. What is the use? Will you learn it? And when, let me tell you, teachers are having a lot many things to discuss and to give. But when they see students are least interested, they are not ready to take the efforts. Why I will take effort if you are not interested? Is that I'm telling you that I'll not solve your problem? Is that I'm telling to you don't ask the question? Why you are not working? Every lab we are having this scenario. Almost 45% of lab we have covered the syllabus. Same in theory. 45% syllabus. And still people are saying that they don't have syllabus. Then you need to think about how you are working for your own betterment. It's okay, you all are grown up. This is just an advice if you want to build your career as a computer engineer. Then otherwise doesn't make any difference. That's totally fine. Anyways, I'll do my part. Rest is up to you. I guess only one student has done last time's program. Madhvan, have you done both the programs?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you facing any difficulty?
No, ma'am. I
Any?
shared the screen last time only in the lab.
Yeah, I know that in lab only you completed, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So let us assume that others are smart enough and that's why they have not done the programming. Anyways, but still if you feel to take guidance, you can talk about your errors and we can solve it together. Moving ahead with the next practical, if you look at the syllabus, last time we did callable statement, which was practical 4, and the 7th practical, which is transaction. We are left over with the result set, but result set, scrollable result set we have already worked upon. So what I want is, today we will start the servlet because most probably this is the last lab before your meet. And that's why I want you to learn your servlets in this lab. Okay? Because in your mid semester, you may have questions from servlet as a programming also. See, you can't say this has not been covered in the lab. That's why we are not done, because whatever topics are there in the syllabus, same topics has been covered in the practical. And I have shown demo of each and every topic. And that's why I have shared the lecture link document, unit number 1, 2, 3. Soon I'll be sharing the unit number 1 to 4 lecture links. Fine. So as I said, mostly today is the last lab before mid, and that's why 5 and 6 we will be doing by your own. That is because I've shown the demo in the class. rs.next, rs.first, rs.last, previous, relative, absolute, right? That's why we are not discussing it. But you don't know how to go with the servlet, and that's why the topic which has been covered in the theory, which are deployment descriptor, include and forward action, and servlet context. This we will discuss today. Apart from that, servlet API, filter API has been already covered in the theory demo. Fine. And servlet JDBC we will cover in upcoming session, theory session. Right now we are at state management in the theory. So cookies program I have shown you, and you can implement it further by applying your own core Java and logical skills. So moving ahead with practical number 1, which is about servlet study. So let us understand what the problem statement says. Problem statement says, write down the program for testing the servlet and deployment descriptor. Before I move further, can anyone tell me which file is known as deployment descriptor? Which file is known as a deployment descriptor? Anyone? Your web.xml is the deployment descriptor file. It's an XML file. That's why it will have the first line as XML version 1.0, and it will have encoding, which is usually UTF-8, right? This will be the first line, but the first tag or the root tag of web.xml is web app. So whatever you are writing between web and web app is the parameter settings, or you can say deployment descriptor representing your configuration. So each and every time you create a servlet, there will be the tag which is named as /servlet/servlet, right? And along with that, you have another tag which is known as servlet mapping, right? Okay, we have /servlet mapping, and both of these are having the child tag. For example, when I say servlet mapping, it talks about which URL pattern is mapped with which servlet. So your servlet mapping is having a child tag which is named as a servlet name, right? And /servlet. This servlet may have some mapping with the URL pattern, right? So whenever user requests for anything, we may have that as a URL pattern. Okay. So this is your servlet mapping tag. Along with servlet mapping, your servlet tag contains the mapping of servlet name with servlet class name. Okay. So we have servlet tag. Inside that we have servlet name and we have servlet class, right? So what your servlet class does, servlet class represents which class name is mapped with this, right? So we have servlet name and servlet class name, servlet class mapping in the servlet tag. So this is how it works, right? Along with that, there is one more tag which is config, servlet config, which talks about the session timeout and all. This is specifically used because when you develop any web application, user may send requests for any resource. And when user is sending requests for any resource, it may take user request through network to the server. And when it is happening, we are loading the first resource, which is always a static resource. Look at this project. I have one project which is named as Kelsey demo. When I run this project, basically it is going to take me to the very first file. And the very first file of any website is index.html. So when I run this, index.html will execute. In index.html, we have designed the input controls for the calculator. So it is having 2 text boxes and 4 buttons for different Kelsey related operations. Let me run this first. Let me show you the device and then let me show you the input control and then I'll explain the further. So it's taking a while as we are running it for the first time. Second time it would be So you can see here, we have input controls for number 1, right? This is my text box and num1, and this is my text box num2. When I click on this is a submit button which is labeled as add, right? It will take me to the servlet. You can see right now when I'm executing the program, which is my request 1, right? My request 1 is always a URL typing, right? And what we have typed is this localhost Kelsey demo. Kelsey demo is my project name. So by default, index.html will be given as a response. So whatever you are seeing on screen is the response 1. Now I'm entering the parameter and clicking on the second any button. So you can look at the URL. What I'm requesting is this. I'm requesting to the user. This is to the server. This is request 2. This time I'm requesting the URL pattern /calculator, right? So here instead of first servlet, I have /calculator in URL pattern, which is having the variable txt num1 value 20. Then we have txt num2 having value 2, and we have one more parameter which is button op, which button operation. And right now the add has been clicked. If you are changing the button, right, so then ultimately it is giving me the response. This is response 2. If I click on the multiplication, you can see answer of multiplication is happening. Actually this is coming from the /calculator resource, which has work upon the parameter text box 1 20, text box 2 2, and finally the button operation mul. Fine. So based on this, we are calling some Java program. So this Java program are basically this servlet class. So entire thing works from this mapping. Entire things works from this mapping. So this is, and this entire document web.xml is known as the deployment descriptor. We call it as a deployment descriptor, right? So let us study how we can go with it. I can create a new project, Java web application. I'm naming it as my Kelsey, right? And I'm choosing the server. I have to choose Glassfish or Apache as this is the web application. Give next and click on finish. It will give you the directory structure. You can see here, my Kelsey. I have. There are so many projects. Like let me close all the projects. You can see here I have my Kelsey, which is having 4 folders: web page, source package, library, and configuration file. Web page is having a web-inf and meta-inf folder, which is deployment descriptor. Right now web-inf is empty. I click on the plus sign, nothing is there. And this is my index.html, which is the default page. Now what I will do is, over here I'll write the design of having the text box and the button, right? So this is what my design looks like. I have a action which is saves calculator, method is get, input type is equal to text, and I have taken 2 times, given a name txt num1 and num2, and taken a 4 submit button. Name of all the buttons are same, bt and op, but value is different. Now when user will click in any of this button, as I've shown you, the URL pattern will be formed and this entire thing will be sent to the server. Now we have created a servlet which is named as Kelsey servlet. So you can create here source package. In that you have to go to the default package, create a servlet, and we are creating Kelsey servlet. I am saying Kelsey servlet is my servlet where I'm adding the URL pattern as calculator. It means that whenever the pattern calculator comes, it has to go to the Kelsey servlet. Fine. So this has been added, and now you can see this is my This is my calculator design. From that it will go here. Now here in the Kelsey servlet, you can see the method which is given. This is process request. You can see Kelsey servlet extends the HTTP servlet. This is the parent class, and Kelsey servlet developed from this. If you recall, we learned that your method, which will be lifecycle method for HTTP servlet, is based on the method. So here method is get, so we are going to go with the do get method. Fine. Process request is the method given by NetBeans. If you look down, here we have do get method also, which is calling this local method of NetBeans. So if you don't want to work with this, that's totally fine. You can delete all this thing, and here you can simply put do get method. So rename the process request as do get method, and it will work fine. Okay. Now here we are going to write the business logic between body and slash body, right? What we have is HTTP servlet. So we have overridden the method. We are writing @override do get method, which is there in HTTP servlet. Now for our servlet, Kelsey servlet, we are overriding it. So first we have taken response.set content type, the response which we want to give to the client as in the terms of the output, right? This is the output, right? So this is response. So this response type we are setting as the text/HTML. We're doing the try, and we are writing print writer out is equal to response.getWriter. So with the help of out, whatever you are writing will be given to the response object. So we are writing out.println, an entire HTML page we are forming, because in theory we discussed that whatever is the programming language, your client gets only the HTML output. So we are trying to build an HTML output to be given to the end user. Now I'm having a string and1 is equal to, I'm taking a local variable and I'm reading the parameter coming from user. You can see the parameter coming from user is in variable txt num1. So this is through the request object we can get it. So I'm writing request dot get parameter, right? So we'll write the request object request dot get parameter, where T is capital. I'm writing the name txt num1, which is my text box name. Similar way, for second text box, you have to take the second variable as it is coming through the HTTP. Obviously, it is in text base, so this is string and 2 for text box 1 and 2. Now, I have to perform the arithmetic operations. So what I can do is I have to take integer. I'm saying integer num1 is equal to, I'm using the wrapper class integer. I'm saying integer dot parse int. I'm parsing num1, n1 for num1, and I'm parsing n2 for integer num2. Fine, this is my number 2, which is talking about number 2. Now I can simply write, I can take an integer answer, right? And I can make num1 plus num2, right? And if I do clean and build, okay, before that I have to display also. So I'll write out dot println answer is, you can display the answer variable. So do clean and build. Print. Okay. Now you can run it. And you see, if I am entering 10 and 2 and I click on add, it says answer is 12. Now if I click on sub, still it says answer is 12, because we have not put the logic. See, mul and division and everything. right? We have to put the logic for this. Up till now, in a kelsey.servlet, we have just made answer is equal to a plus num1 plus num2. Now, we have to check which button has been clicked, and as you see the URL pattern, button op is holding the value which button is clicked. So we can use it here. We'll take the third string. Let us say, let's read it as an op, the operator. We are saying request dot get parameter, and I'll say btno button option, right? And now I'm saying initially answer is 0, okay? And I'm putting an if condition. I'm saying if local variable op dot equals, if it is equal to add, then what we are going to do is we are going to do answer is equal to num1 plus num2, right? And then we are taking further. We are saying else if answer is equal to button is equal to sub, then make answer is equal to num1 minus num2, right? Similar way, we are putting an if condition for the multiplication also. Fine. And finally, the condition for modulus operation. Agree? Right? And outside this if else, we are putting answer is. So whatever is the operation, that answer will come. Let us do clean and build. As we have changed the code, we need to recompile or redeploy everything. And then you can click this earth type of symbol and you can choose the valid browser, whatever browser you want to go with. Click on the run and it will run your file. I'm entering 20 and 4. You can see the addition answer, subtraction answer, multiplication answer, and the modulus answer. Fine. So this is how your application works. This is the deployment descriptor, which is showing you the entire mapping. You can see I said the mapping would be like, if it is slash calculator, then we are taking it to Kelsey servlet. So this is what has come. Fine. Is there any question or any doubt? Anyone? Are you people clear? Should I move forward? Yes or no? So this was your practical one. Now let us go ahead and learn about request dispatcher. So can anyone tell me what is request dispatcher? What is request dispatcher? In theory, we have done it already. So can anyone tell me what is request dispatcher? Anyone? Are you attending the theory class? Yes or no?
Ma'am, it accepts the request from the client and send it to any resource such as a servlet or HTML file.
Exactly. So if we want to go from one resource to another resource, such as from one servlet to another servlet, or from servlet to HTML file, or from servlet to JSP file, at that time we can use the request dispatcher. Fine. So let us see how and what we can do with the request dispatcher. So request dispatcher is basically an interface, right? And that interface is allowing you to go from one resource to another resource, and you can do so with the help of the forward and include method. So you can look at here. To go from one resource to another resource, as Madhvan has correctly answered, right? So from servlet to HTML, servlet or JSP, we can use forward and include method. What is the difference? What is the difference between forward and include method? Anyone? What is the difference between request dispatcher, forward and include method?
Forward, the whole control is transferred to the next servlet or any HTML or JSP, and in include the control is it just includes the process that is done.
Uh, Actually, when you say forward, your request will go to the servlet one, right? So in forward, it will not include the response of servlet one. Output will not be merged. It will simply forward your request from servlet one to servlet two. So the output which you will get will be the output of servlet two, simply. Fine. But when you say include, user request will go to the servlet one. And if you have used the include method to go from servlet one to servlet two, the response of servlet 2 will be taken and it will be included in servlet 1's response. So final response will be generated by combining the response of servlet 1 and servlet 2 together, and then it will be given to the end user. But here, if you are using from servlet 1, you are going to servlet 2 using forward method, the outcome of the servlet 1 will not be merged as a final outcome. This message will not be merged. It will not be included. It will be simply forwarded from servlet 1 to servlet 2. So the output which we will get will be from servlet 2 as a final response. Clear, Madhvan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, as I said, request dispatcher, and it is having the two method, uh, include and forward, which takes the two different object as an argument, which is request and response object. Signature is entirely same, right? We have the same signature, public void forward, public void include. Arguments are also same, request and response object as an argument, and both the throws the IO exception and servlet exception. So we want to implement this scenario through the login check, and we will be developing this application. We'll take index.html, and in index.html we'll take a text box and a password box along with the submit button, right? So when user is clicking on the login button, after username and password is entered, right, it will go to the login check servlet. In login check servlet, we will check the condition that if username is your name and password is your surname, then user is valid. In that case, we'll use the forward method to take user from login check servlet to welcome servlet. Here we will welcome the user, right? As it is forwarding the request and response object. When you are logging, your login check will have request.get parameter username. And that entire request object is passed here through the forward, so you can use that value. You can use that request.get parameter and you can display the text box value in welcome servlet. So your username will go through index.html forms to submit to login check. From login check, using the request dispatcher forward method, your request object will reach to admin servlet. And here again, using request.get parameter, you can read it. Suppose user has entered wrong username and password. In that case, we are going to give a message to end user, sorry, wrong username or password, and we will ask user to relog in. So here, from login check to index.html, we are going using the include method of request dispatcher. So let us see the code. Here is your index.html. We have login check servlet using we are going to ask user to enter name. We are setting it in txt username, txt username, txt password, txt pw, and finally we have a submit button which is labeled as login. So when user is going to click on login, user name and password will be passed to login check servlet. Right? So we have created a login check servlet. I know my screen share has gone. Give me a second. I'm sharing the screen again. So in login check, we have taken an import java x.servlet.request dispatcher because we want to use it from login check to welcome servlet. We want to go. That's why we have included request dispatcher. Can you see up the third import which says java x.servlet.request dispatcher? Now, along with this, we have a public class login check, which is extended from HTTP servlet. Fine. And we have overridden the method, so you can response.set content type print writer out is equal to response.get writer, and ultimately we are giving entire HTML as an outcome. So in the body part, we'll put the logic. This is same everywhere in all the program. You have to just write your logic between out.println body, out.println/body. In between that, you will write your code, okay, or your logic. So here, first we are taking the local variable uname and pass to read the values of password box and the user name. So we are writing request.get parameter and we are mentioning the password box and user box. Using that value to match the entered value with your name and your surname. So we said that user name box, which is there in uname. So we said uname dot equals Taru, right? Dot equals Taru, and password, which is holding the password box, right? If it is equal to block, then out.println you are a valid user, and we are using request dispatcher. So I have to write request dispatcher rd is equal to request.get request dispatcher, and mention the path. This is the relative URL. I'm mentioning where to go. So I said take it to welcome servlet. So this is like a dashboard, and we are writing rd.forward. So this we are forwarding using the forward method. So you can see this is my welcome servlet where I have simply just welcome the user by saying welcome plus request.get parameter txt unit. Okay, between body and slash body. Nothing else we did. We have just printed a welcome message. Here in the else part, if username and password is not valid, we are going to write out.println. Username or password is wrong, re-enter. Okay, this time we are sending user back to the login page, which is our index.html. So we say request dispatcher rd is equal to request.get request dispatcher index.html. This time we want to include this message also. That's why we wrote rd.include. rd.include. Is it clear, everyone? Can you look at the code and find out any doubt if you have? Everybody, is the code clear? Should I execute the program and show you the outcome? Should I execute the application? Any doubt or any query?
Clear,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Are we having the mixed students of Kajal ma'am and Mind Lab, or these are only my students?
Mix, ma'am.
Mix.
Mixed. Okay. Okay. Fine. So I'll run this application. Okay. I can right click and run. Otherwise, I can click on the green button. So if I enter the correct username and password, okay, you can see it is taking me. Okay, I know screen share has gone. Give me a minute. I'll re-share. Can you see this? What we did? See the URL. First, you are here. This is like your request one, right? Request demo. And when I say request demo, the first request, it is for index.html. Fine. So this is the first response which you are getting. When you enter the username and password, and let us assume that it is entered correct. Fine. In that case, can you see the URL? It is printing the welcome message, and we know that this code, welcome and username, is in admin servlet. But what it says? What it says? It is from login check, because we use the forward method. Okay. Now, when I'm entering the wrong username and password, right? Again, you see it shows the login check because it is just collaborating or combining the output, right? Right? But you can see here message is included because we use rd.include method. Whereas when we are entering the correct name and password, right, at that time we have used forward method, and that's why the message which is here, you are valid user, this is not being printed. This is not shown in the output. You are valid user. Can you see this? Because we use forward method. So instead of forward, if we are using include, if we are using the include method, right, in that case it will be shown. In that case, you are valid user message will come. Can you see this? Right? It is coming because we use include method. Are you getting the difference? Include and forward. Everyone, look at the code. First, I was right. I wrote here forward. So at that time, this message was not coming. But now I have used include, right? So it is coming. If I write the forward again, this message will not be printed. That's the difference between. servlet request dispatcher include and forward method. Fine. Clear? Any question, any doubt, anyone?
Ma'am, is this request get method or post method?
The method which we are specifying, it will use it. So right now we are using the URL to forward, right? Here, like, you know, you are, this form you have used get or post, but from this you are just forwarding to here, right? So in that case we have used get method because the default method is the get method. So that's why I use get method in index.html. It is post, but when you are at login check, you are forming an URL. So the URL is always the get method. So that's why it is get method in welcome servlet. Fine.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other question? That's a really good question, Sagar. Thank you for asking this. Because you see, when you are at here, you are forming an URL which is from your local host colon 8080, then slash request dispatcher demo slash you are in login check, right? And from here you are going next. So when you are having a URL, the default method of it is the do get method, and that's why when you are writing the welcome servlet, you will override the do get method. So you can check your welcome servlet. Though we have just written a process request, but ultimately it is calling the do get method of the life cycle, right? Okay. Is there any other question, anyone? Any other question, any other doubt? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, it's a get method. See, post is not supported. Can you see that? Post is not supported. So it is get only. Fine?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, should I move forward? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So moving to the next discussion. Right now you see what we did was we started our discussion with practical one, which was study about deployment descriptor. There we did the program which was showing about calculator development, and then we discussed practical number 2, which was write down a program for testing include action, and practical number 3, which says write down a program for testing the forward action for servlet collaboration. We call it a servlet collaboration because it combines the output of two servlets. So two servlets or two resources are working together. That's why it's called the collaboration. So we're done with the practical 2 and 3 demonstration from my end. From your end, you need to implement it. I'll give you time in this lab only. Now we are moving to the last practical, which is practical 7, I guess. Sorry, 8. Practical 8, which says write down the program for demonstrating servlet context. Servlet context interface. Can anyone tell me what is servlet context? What is servlet context and what is servlet config? Anyone? So when you say servlet context and servlet config, these are the interfaces which is used to get the configuration information. So configuration information related to particular servlet or whole application can be set inside the web.xml. So what you can do is you can set the variables inside your web.xml using your web.xml. So you can see here I have one application which is known as, which I named as context config demo, and inside that when I'm creating a servlet, a web.xml will be created. What I did is in the web.xml which has been created, we know that if I have two servlet, in this example I have two servlets, servlet 1 and servlet 2, right? So we will have servlet and servlet mapping two times. Each servlet will have servlet tag and servlet mapping tag. So if you look at for servlet 1, I have written servlet name, servlet 1, and servlet class, servlet 1. Mapping is servlet 1 is mapped with the URL pattern / servlet 1, right? So in index.html, when I have created the hyperlink, ahref is equal to servlet 1, obviously the pattern which will be created will be / servlet 1. So it will take me to servlet1.java class. Okay. Similar way for servlet 2, inside the web.xml, we have servlet tag, but this time inside the servlet tag, we have taken one more tag which is init param. Init param stands for initialization parameter, which is specifically for servlet 2. So I created an initialization parameter and named it as programmer. So programmer for servlet 2 is holding the value taru. Fine, right? And similar way we have servlet mapping. When pattern is / servlet 2, it will go to the servlet 2. And when I have certain parameter which is applicable to whole application, we call it as a context param. So context param will not be returned inside any servlet. For example, you see init servlet is returned inside the servlet because it is specific. This parameter is specific for servlet 2. But in an application, if I have 25 or 30 servlet and there's some common variable which is applicable to whole servlet, so whole web application and all the servlet files, in that case I need to take an context param. Context param will be returned outside of the servlet tag, which means that inside the root tag anywhere you can write. You can write in a end, or you can write in the beginning also, right? If you have written it here, then also it is fine. Or if you have written it in between anywhere, then also it is fine. You have to just make sure that you are not writing it inside any servlet tag or servlet mapping tag, because it will be individual. Fine? Is it clear? Right? Now, if I want to read this value, that is value of context param or value of init param, in that case, I can use servlet context and servlet config interfaces. So servlet config is used to read the init parameter. With the help of get init parameter, I can specify the variable name and I can read it. And if we want to go for the context parameter, which is context dash param, you can take an object of servlet context interface, right? Methods are almost same, get init parameter and all. So to use it, first of all, I have to create an object of servlet context. We can get it through the get servlet context object. So here I have written the code for the same. I'm repeating the scenario. What we have is, in the context and config demo, I have index.html. I created two hyperlinks, servlet 1 and servlet 2. When user clicks on servlet 1 link, it will go to the servlet1.java, right? Servlet1.java is not having any init parameter, but still I have tried to create the object. So I said servlet config is equal to get servlet config, and I have taken a string developer which says config.get parameter programmer, right? So programmer is an object, sorry, programmer is an config parameter, init parameter, which is there in servlet 2. If you look at servlet 1, there is no such parameter. So in that case, it will give us null, right? It will give us null. Now I have taken a context parameter. Context parameter is to read the context param, and context param is applicable to all the servlets. So in web.xml, we have taken a context param which is named as organization, and I give the param value Marwadi Infotech. Fine. And what we are doing is we are trying to read it with the help of servlet context object. So we said servlet context is equal to get servlet context, and we said a local variable string developed at context.get init parameter organization, right? Now Marwadi Infotech is in the variable developed at, which we are displaying out.println. This page is developed at Marwadi Infotech, right? Same lines we have written in the servlet 2. No change, similar lines, right? Same 6 lines we have written. Okay, but programmer is available in servlet 2 only. That's why it will be displayed for servlet 2 only. For servlet 1, it will display null. To use servlet context and config interface object, you need to import it. Don't forget to import javax.servlet config and servlet context. Fine. Okay. So you can see here servlet 1. There is no programmer set in it. That's why it says null. And if I click on servlet 2, it says Taru, developed at Marwadi Infotech. Fine. Fine, everyone. Is it clear? This is single variable Marwadi Infotech, which is of context param type, and that's why it is available in all the servlet. But when you say programmer, it is servlet specific, and that's why servlet config is displaying here Taru, whereas in servlet 1 we do not have any init parameter, param name and param value. That's why it is giving null. Is it clear? Any doubt, any questions? Anyone? So what we discussed today was practical 1, 2. 1 is to study deployment descriptor. We studied for Kelsey servlet. And 2 and 3 was to study include and forward action. We studied in the terms of login check servlet. As well, only servlet context was specified, but we learned both context and config. Now, from made point of view, filter API, authentication filter, I have already shown you in the theory demo. You can refer the video and you can revise it, right? Right now, we are working on this practical 4 related concepts in the theory. And JDBC, nothing else is there. The way you create the servlet, in the body and slash body, in between you have to write JDBC 5 steps, right? You have to write those steps here, and don't forget to include the library. You can right click and you can add the library. If you are working with MySQL, you will include MySQL driver by clicking on add library. Fine. Fine. Okay. So that's it from my end for today's lab, right? Next lab, we will be working on authentication filter and state management techniques. Up till now, anyone having any query or doubt, they can raise the query. Anyone? Any doubt, any query? So next lab, just revise the concept of the theory. Filter, authentication filter and cookies we have already discussed in the theory. So read a bit about that, and then we can create a login form to perform session management using cookie. Okay. You can start working on today's problems if you don't have any question. Anyone having any technical query? Anyone? Any doubt, any query? Yes or no? Yes or no? Any doubt or query? Kindly acknowledge.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Then take your time and implement the programs. I'm here. If you face any technical issue, I'll resolve your errors. Next lab, we will be working on the session management and authentication filter. Today, we talk about how to apply request dispatcher, what is the importance of web.xml, how we can go with it, and how to access the init and context param using servlet config and servlet context. So that's it for today.